Hello everyone, this is Raman and today we will discuss about JavaScript types. And for program execution perspective, I am using the text editor as a Visual Studio. You can use any text editor which is compatible with the JavaScript. But because I'm a .NET developer, so I prefer to use Visual Studio. But it is up to you. If you want to use some other text editor, that is fine as well. All right, so let us see how the variables get stored into the JavaScript. So I take a variable with the var keyword and I'll say variable name equals to Raman. So when I store this value into a variable, this is called an object. This is called an object, which we call the variable object. So I'm storing a value into a variable object. So variable object, if I want to just say alert, or I will use document.write. Document.write to print the value, and if I just run it, it will print the name. So it prints the name Raman. So as we know, JavaScript is a language. It's a client-side language. So definitely it will have some data types. So there are two types of data types in JavaScript. One is primitive and second is reference type. In this lecture, I'm going to explain you what is primitive data types. In next video, you will find the explanation of the reference type data types. Primitive data types is very the basic of every language, where we stores the text, where we store the numbers, where we store some Boolean values. The languages also supports null values and undefined values. So there are 5 types of data types. So when we use the primitive data types, we are directly storing that value into that variable or variable object. Say an example, here I have used var name equals to Raman. So this Raman is a value and name is a variable object. I'm directly assigning that value to the name variable. So with this example, I'm just defining which is very commonly used, or there are 5 primitive types in JavaScript. One is Boolean, which can store true and false value. There is a number data type, which can store the integer values as well as the float values. Next is the string, which is the collection of characters. Null, which can store the null values. And there is one more data type which we mostly not see in the other languages, but it is very important, that is the undefined. So undefined is basically when you are assigning some value to variable that becomes of that type, but if you don't define that value and you are trying to use it, then it is called undefined. So let us see in this example. I'm just saying name, var name, and I'm just trying to print it. So in this case, it becomes the undefined. So there is a difference between null and undefined that we will discuss. But now, for example, I have a data type. I have a variable over here. Say var name equals to Raman. And because we are using var variable, so how do you know that name is string or not, or what is the data type of this string? Then we use the type of operator. This type of operator helps me to understand that what type of variable it is. So say an example, if I say document dot write type of, so this is the keyword in the JavaScript, and I will say name. So it returns me the string because this is of collection of characters, and it is in the double quotes. So let's have some more values here. So I'll say uh, document.write. I'm using document.write. You can use console.log if you want. If you want to use the developer tools, but I'm very much comfortable with this. But that is also fine if you are using alert, if you are using console.log. All this gives you the same result. If I say say true, okay, I'm using BR here, so it will come into the next line. Okay, so this is Boolean. So far so good. Or I will say BR true type equals to this, and same way I just want to put document.write, and I want to find the 32 or some value, numeric value. Same way I want to print. Okay, so I want to print the string boolean number, and next we are having null type. So I will put null here. Actually, null is little tricky. It will returns object because it's an empty object. So there is a type which is called object type. Variable by default it is object type. So it is an empty object. So I will say document dot write. I think I had copied it. So undefined. We'll put undefined. So let us see what is the result coming up, and here I will put something. Roman type equals to. All right, so let's run it. So now you can see Roman type is string, true type is boolean, 32 is integer, null type is object, and undefined is undefined. So this is the case which prove it that what type of data we are using. So type of operator is one of the important one, which basically you use for condition purpose as well. So let me do some more things over here. So I was talking about null operator. So null operator is something which is having object type. So see an example, I want to print document dot write. Okay, and I have some value, say an example where nullable value something value equals to null. Okay, and if I want to print nullable value equals to null, so then what it gives you, it gives you true. So because we are comparing the null value, so null is always considered an object. So when I'm talking, one thing come into my mind is double equals to and triple equals to. There is a difference between double equals to and triple equals to. Double equals to gives you something like this. So I'm saying document dot write, and I want to compare 5 equals to 5. So this will return true because when you are using double equals to, it does not compare the data type. But when you are writing document dot write and you are using 5 triple equals to 5, then it will return false. The reason is because this triple equals to first compare the data type, whether both the side the data type is equal or not. On the left hand side, if you see, it's string type, and right hand side it is integer type. So it gives you the false. So let me just put it something here so that we can see in the output 5 equals to 5. Okay, and plus, and here we'll say, oh, let me first show it, because otherwise you will think that it is concatenating and then comparing. So let me do it. So let me remove this. So first output should be true, second output should be false. Okay, true and false. I did not put the break, that's why it is coming in the same line. So now you have seen triple equals to always a data type comparison. So if I take one more example, so say an example, you have a variable which is undefined, or you can directly compare document dot write, and I want to compare undefined equals to null. So in this case it will return true because data type is not compared, both are null. But if I say document dot write and I'm saying undefined, triple equals to null, it will return false because the data type is not same. So true and false. So this is all about for the primitive data types. Now next is the primitive methods. So what are the primitive methods? So primitive methods are basically the methods which we use on the primitive data types. So let me write that, primitive methods. So apart from null and undefined, primitive data types, so these two data types, which is null and undefined, does not have any methods. Other primitive types has some methods. So let me show you that. Say an example, I have var name equals to Raman. So when I'm using this, then I want to print document dot write lowercase to lowercase equals to, so I will say name is a primitive data types, now is string type, and I will say to lower. So this to lowercase is a primitive method. So now you can see that the output is in small case. Okay, and same way if you want to find the a letter first character, then I'm saying we'll take BR and we'll say caret. Actually, in JavaScript, first they are using camel casing char at. So we are using char at at any position. So you want to find the char at dot. What is going on? Okay, char at. I want to see the character on the first position. Okay, so if you see, the value is should be R, capital R, because on the top we are lowering the case, but we are not assigning to that variable back. So it will be capital R here. Okay, now so these are the examples for the primitive types string. So let's take some primitive methods for the integers. So I'm taking var count and I'm putting equals to 10. Now I want to write document dot write count dot toFixed. So toFixed is a method which basically gives you the fixed decimal length. Okay, so let me run it. So the output is 10.00. Okay, so these are the methods which is inbuilt methods in the JavaScript. Same way, if you want to convert it into the string, you can convert it into the string by using .toString. And if you want to convert it into some other conversion, then like for example, I want to convert it into the hexagon. So I'm using 16. So let us see a equivalent hexagon number is a character is A. It is coming up. Same way, if you have a variable of Boolean type, so I'm saying bool_var something, and I'm storing true. Now if I say document.write, and if I say bool_var .toString, actually it has very limited in the Boolean case, so it gives the same output, but it is a string now. All right, so that's it for the primitive types. So stay tuned. Next lecture will be on the reference type.